But it's the age-old Hollywood story where stunts are handed down from father to son, from mother to daughter, and away we go.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a natural thing. It's how our children were raised. My daughter Randy Lee, when she was only in grade 1 or 2, she had to do a journal. They do the journals on what you did on the weekend. And Rhonda and I went for a parent-teacher night thing, and here's her journal open at a particular page. And she had drawn 2 people in pencil crayon in orange and red flames. And her little story was, on the weekend, my father lit my uncle and my cousin on fire. And the teacher wrote in red ink, Randy Lee, this is a good story, but are you sure it's true? And I had to call her over. I said, yeah, this is what we do. So when Randy Lee was that young, she watched me light my brother Neil and Blair on fire at Blair's place on his farm.
That's so funny. Nick got the same thing.
But that's just the way
got
he
a
grew
call
up.
from the teacher saying Nick is telling people that he's jumping off the house,
Yeah, same
balcony
here.
into like a big fluffy bag.
Yeah.
I said, well, he
Into a
is.
big fluffy bag. Yeah.
Because we bring the airbag out. And
That's so funny.
Yeah.
The teacher called our house and spoke to my wife and said, Andrew, we're concerned that he's watching too much television. That's what they said. Because he crashes his Hot Wheel cars and he jumps off his desk and rolls on the ground. and he says he's a stunt boy.
Yeah.
So Rhonda goes, yeah. Here's the story. And then they all understand, right?
Sure.
But that's the way our children were raised. Yeah. So it's just a natural thing. And then Blair's been with me since he was 13 years old.
Yeah.
I flipped a car once and Blair was as white as a sheet when he comes up and he goes, we don't have to do that, right? And then he grew up, and then look what he's doing with cars. Flipping stuff and crazy crap.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's just a natural progression.
I love it. I think it's so great. Nick's first stunt was for Marco Bianco, working with me on a low-budget movie, and had to go backwards over a barbecue, and Nick was with me, and he was probably, 10 or something like that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't, and I remember me holding Nick as I went over, and Nick said, no, I didn't actually do a stunt. I was just, I had to like scramble over you or something like that, but I remember him coming tumbling down with me, but maybe that's, I don't know.
Well, I think my first stunt was him tackling me out of a tree.
Right.
Or I was not in the tree. I'm walking with ice skates or something, and he jumps out of the tree and tackles me to the floor.
Right.
But I was, 13 or 14 or something like that.
Yeah, you're just a kid.
Do you remember being on film sets as a kid? Like Nick was, and Michael were always on film sets.
Yeah, I kind of grew up on them, and I grew up in the audition room, and
sure,
it was constantly when I look back at my childhood and my teens, it was Second City, acting classes, writing, directing classes.
Oh, wow.
I would do some martial arts and
he's an incredible writer.
Weapons, and there was all kinds of stuff I was just doing.
Isn't that amazing?
I did stand.
It's amazing what I don't know.
Yeah.
How poorly qualified I am to do what I do, I guess.
That was my life when I was young.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and
remarkable.
I grew up in Woodstock. There was another kid that went to school there, the only other actor, I think, in the whole friggin' city. His name was Kevin Ziggers, and he did Air Bud. He was the star of that movie with the dog.
Yeah.
And I used to get teased all the time that I wanted to be like Kevin Ziggers. That was the whole thing in my school. But I was out doing auditions, rarely in school. I was like, that was my life. Yeah.
Wow.
Auditions.
Yeah, we got called, Rhonda and I, from the high school when we first came to Cambridge, and the teacher says, the vice principal told me, you have to stop taking your kids out of school for these auditions they're doing.
Best part of private school in the universe, incidentally. taking the kids out to go hunting all the time.
Oh, that's hilarious.
yeah.
It's private school, right? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, but
Yeah.
the teacher said you have to ask permission. This principal said you have to ask us permission to take your children. I said, no, just a second. These are my children. I don't need to ask you permission for anything.
That's right.
And I said, how many new kids came to the school this year? And he had a number. He told me the number. And I said, can you tell me, please, how many of them offered to shake your hand and offer their name? And he said, 2. Randy Lee Butcher and Andrew Butcher. Thank you.
All right.
Because my children were raised in a professional situation, environment, and they had to be these people, and that's how my children were raised, and he got it.
Yeah, good for you. You know, it's funny though. I'm getting a little bit of kickback about not kickback's the wrong word. With Rose, because Rose came out to work on SkyMed with me.
Yeah.
And now I'm going out to St. Pierre next week, and Rose is coming out of school again to go out to St. Pierre because her mom is flying down to Panama. And so Rose is coming with Dad, and Nick's going out to take care of the dogs and at the place. But out of school again for another week. And there's some...
Pushback from the school?
Pushback's the wrong word, because I find
Concern?
I find them very supportive, and their rationale is good. Rose is going to fall behind. Rose, and I go, yeah, I get it, but there's not much I can do about it. I have to take her, and I'm going to. But I actually appreciate it. It shows a level of, it's not about control, it shows a level of concern from the daughter's welfare.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. But by the same token, I want you to think back on your personal public school career, where you went to grade kindergarten up through high school, and name me the 1 week that was so crucial that you shouldn't have missed.
It was September 15th.
Right. So based on that, I had no issue taking my children out of school for a day or two.
And neither do I. It's
Yeah,
just
I know. It's just kind of funny.
I'm appreciative of what they do, and
Sure.
and and I mean that. And so I try to couch this is what I'm doing with appreciation of what they do.
Yeah.
Because I do appreciate what they do.
I had a teacher once. Andrew came home and he wasn't upset, but he was kind of confused, and he said to me, "My teacher told me that acting was a hard nut to crack, and that I should have something to fall back on."
Oh boy.
So I went and I spoke to this person, and in front of other people, I said, "Did you actually say that to my son? That acting's a hard nut to crack?" And he goes, "Well, it is." And I said, "Where did you get that from? What did you try to be an actor at one point in your career?" And I'd already done a bit of research, and I said, "Did you read about it, like in a Premier magazine, that somebody said acting's a hard nut to crack?" And he, whatever. I said, "I understand that you wanted to be an NHL hockey player, and you fell back on your acting career because your dream didn't come true. I said, you just destroyed 12 years or 14, 15 years of confidence that I have instilled in my son."
Well, that teacher actually put on. I wrote a paper on what I wanted to do with my future and all that, and it had a lot to do with comedy and acting and things like that. And he said he actually wrote in red pen on it, "Are you trying to make us jealous?" It was an English teacher.
You're joking.
He wrote that, and that's what I brought home to him.
Yeah, I mean that's a small person, I mean,
Yeah, he was
shame on you.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was going to say I get what your dad's saying about you just destroy. He didn't destroy anything.
No.
And I'm sure if Randy will agree that you need guys like that. You need people like that in your life because they, I'm not trying to quote Nietzsche, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But to a certain degree, you need the naysayers because carry on. Look at, I was joking earlier about being so ill-equipped to do this job, and there's probably true. You know, if you compared my, you know, my research and my learning curve to what other people have done. But I will say that knowledge can be a dangerous thing. You know, if I ever, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, if you ever realized how hard it is to do what we do, you'd never do it. Like, just charge forward out of the gate, just keep going. Don't have a B plan.
Yeah.
Just go out and do it, you know?
I agree with that. And to be honest, I think that more in your world or Randy's world, sort of might that be the absolute case. For me, when I was growing up, like when I look back at my childhood and how he and my mom raised me, I actually find it quite impressive how well they trusted me to have a good life, to get what I want and do what I want. They didn't pressure me so hard about anything, about school or about, you know, stunts or just anything. They weren't like, go get a job, blah, blah, blah. There was a bit of that, but I mean, it wasn't.
Well, it was probably about, I'm sure, I don't want to speak for your dad, but I find a lot of artistic families are like that. You know, they they just, there's kind of a default pattern that happens with artistic type of families that don't follow the normal kind of trend. You know, I think be honest, be responsible, pay your own way. That's really,
Yeah.
you know,
I guess,
I'm not going to support you your whole life, but I will support you your whole life.